and welcome to AssemblyTV studio. My name is Riina Nieminen and I will be hosting Fireside Chat today. Fireside Chat is a new program on AssemblyTV and we are going to interview some of the seminar speakers, vloggers and streamers. Now here with me is Juhani Eronen. Welcome.
Thank you.
So Juhani, you are working as a senior specialist in the Finnish National Cyber Security Center.
Yeah.
But here you are for something else.
Yeah, I actually was presenting about some research done at the University of Oulu. I used to work at the Oulu University Security Programming Group. So this summer they had made some new research and I just kind of chimed in, can I help in some way? And that's how I wind up here. Okay.
And can you say a few words about the research? We are going to talk about a little bit later, but something like little preview. What were you researching?
Well, this time we were looking at how different systems such as Mac and Windows deal with protocol handlers and URLs, and are there any security implications related to that?
Okay. So, you're a senior specialist. That sounds really awesome. What do you do?
Yeah, well, my job specifically includes a whole lot of things. I administer some systems, I do incident response. So basically someone gets hacked and they call us, and somebody calls us about some software flaw they've found, and we've tried to find a way on how to fix it and how to notify everybody about that. And then there are some security checks for some systems and stuff like that. So there's a lot.
Okay. And what is the most interesting part in this job? It sounds like it's investigating and it's almost like cop-like job.
Yeah, well, we are interested about how did it happen, and so what was the technical thing that enabled this thing to take place? Whereas coppers are more into who did it. So in that case, so it's a fascinating interplay. Some of these cases, because police does get involved as well as we do. So we do cooperation together, where we try to figure out, okay, what happened technically, and they try to figure out that, okay, what was the motivation and who might be behind that. So yeah, that's one of the fascinating aspects, definitely.
Okay, yeah, that's really interesting. And how did you get to work with National Security Center? How did you end up there?
Well, as I mentioned, I worked previously at the Oulu University, and then, my wife wanted to move to Helsinki, so I needed to get a job there, and I just kind of browsed what kind of positions are open, and one of them was at it was called Certify at that time. Now it's NCSC Cyber Center, because everything has to be cyber nowadays. Okay. So I applied and got in, and I enjoyed it there.
So were you a senior specialist from the start, or?
Yeah, just normal information security specialist, but I'm older now. I'm senior.
Yeah.
Senior citizen.
So, do you have a lot of secret information?
Well, actually, most of the stuff that we deal with is public or private only because it contains client data. So basically, if somebody gets hacked, we try to help them, and we try to find out what's let's start at the beginning. First, we try to follow up everything so that we would know in the first place when somebody calls us what this probably is about. And then when they do call us, we try to investigate with them. Sometimes we tell them that, okay, this is too much, you have to find some consultants to help you further, that we can give the first help, like first aid to the situation. And after that, what was the question again?
That do you have a lot of secret information?
Yeah. So at that time, we know who's being hacked, and that's privileged. We don't divulge any of that. But if we hear about 3 or 4 hacks like that, then we think, okay, this might be something that the general public or these sort of guys, hosting providers, ISPs, companies, should know about, and we do notify them. So I think our job is mostly to publicize information, to get the word out there, to provide warning, and much of the non-public stuff is basically related to clients.
Okay.
It's what many companies have the same similar setting.
And what kind of companies contact you? Are they all big companies or small?
Well, by law we are required to serve everybody. So basically anybody who has a security problem can contact us, send an email. There are forms on the web pages, and you can call. So basically it can and often is anybody. So it is just private citizens and small companies, big companies, governmental entities. Of course, it does tend to happen so that if it's a big company, then it's probably significant because it can cause problems for a great group of people, and it might get prioritized. For example, if an ISP has a problem, it's probably a problem for, well, it could be a problem for a third of the nation. So that's a big deal.
Okay. Have there been any like really silly contacts, or you're like just plugging the computer, or?
Yeah, we get all sorts.
Okay. And so if you're like there to secure our security in a cyber network, so do you know how to hack the Finnish cyber network?
That's actually a funny question. Everybody's always asking about the offense. Offense is somehow more sexy than defense, even though defense is much harder.
Yeah.
You know, because when you build a system, it's a big thing. You have many moving pieces. You have many different things within any non-trivial system. So it's very hard to get everything actually right.
Okay.
An attacker only needs to get one thing right. He needs to know of a single weakness within a big infrastructure. So attacking, well, it's kind of like attacking is for wussies. Defense is hard.
So do you sometimes test some security systems attacking them?
Well, if somebody specifically invites us to do so. For example, in the security testing that we do, it's mostly systems that are not in production yet, or they are separate test systems which are identical to the public systems. And then they either they have to there's a regulation or requirement that we have to test their systems, or sometimes we are curious about some vulnerability or something like that. And then, we do try to break in.
Okay. So, about your seminar, your privacy is protected by what exactly? I love the name.
Thanks.
So, you were talking about URL handlers. What are they?
Yeah, well, URLs are basically everyone has seen URLs might not knowing what they are. So if you have www.something, that's a URL. And URLs are often you see that there's HTTP and a couple of slashes and then www.assembly.org, for example. The HTTP part, there is the handler. It tells you which application to use to contact the server, assembly.org in this case. So mostly it's just HTTP because browsers are so, everyone loves browsers, right? But there's tons of other stuff that we discovered that is using them. There's games use them, chat software use them. So we found like hundreds of those.
Okay, and how does this relate to cybersecurity?
Well, it's basically anything that reads any content from random locations in the web is normally a threat because not all of the software is really robust. So if you give it evil content, it will start doing something you didn't want. So that's why if you can say within a browser, you can have a link to some content which is then automatically downloaded and launched within some other software just by the virtue of having a link there and the URL handler being registered and you have the software installed. Then the software pops up and takes the whatever content some guy in the internet put there and downloads it, and it might have some fault, and well, then it's a security issue.
Yeah, okay. And you were shown these videos when you click this link and your computer just crashes.
Yeah.
Oh, it was really scary to even watch. So how can you recognize these threats, or how can you protect yourself from them?
Well, mostly Well, you could say that that's the kind of a dull part, because the best answer is that whenever you create a software, when you create a game, whatever, you need to take it into account that, okay, it will be put into a hostile environment. So it should withstand the kinds of input. For example, if you are building a Word, say, not all the documents are friendly. Some of the documents are made with other software and might not resemble what you should, as the creator of your word processor, would think they are. And if you haven't, unfortunately, with most programming languages, it is so that if you just open it up and you have assumed that, for example, the title of the document cannot be longer than 30 characters. That's a really stereotypical fault. And if it's longer, it will cause crashes, it will cause problems, and some of them will crash in those ways that can be exploited to cause security problems.
Okay, there were this video when you click the Word documents and again your computer goes mad. So is there like in the name of the Word document, or is there any way you can see is it thread or not?
Well, I would say that the best protection is common sense. So whenever you see something unexpected, whenever this will protect you in the internet, not only from this but from many things. If somebody says that they are a secret Nigerian prince and they have all this money to give you, well, how credible does that sound? If you compare the forums and the internet to a public bulletin board or a toilet wall and see that, okay, you're reading this and okay, how credible do I find this? If somebody tells you that, if you see just some random links somewhere, don't necessarily click on everything. And if you kind of like to have a feeling that okay, this seems legit, well, then do. But that's the second line of defense. Keep everything, all the software, the operating system, all the software in the computer updated so that they're the latest versions with all the known faults removed.
Okay.
So if there is a new flaw, well, there are some protections, there's security software you can add on if you want, if you're really into it.
Yeah.
But the basic things, common sense, patch everything.
Yeah, I'm a little bit sad. I was waiting for my prince online, but okay, don't click it. So, yeah, and you were talking about that Google Chrome and Firefox are the safest browsers.
With respect to URL handlers. It's
why?
just because in most cases, before launching random applications with random content, they ask the user that, did you really want to do this? So you can still say, no, I didn't. Instead of like some other software which just pops up, there is a link to the Word, okay, the Word document opens up and you cannot, once you're on the web page, you cannot do anything about it.
Okay, so good to know. Google Chrome or Firefox?
With respect to this specific threat.
yeah, that's true. And cybersecurity, it's really interesting subject, and it's so important right now because everything is online. So, but I'm curious, why are you fascinated by this subject?
Well, I got into cybersecurity by accident, to be really frank. So I was a computer science student at the university, and there just happened to be a summer trainee job available, and I knew the guy who was hiring, one of the guys that was hiring, and I thought, maybe I should try that one. And then this was in the 90s, and security was not a big thing. Everyone was like, okay, why do you care? And then I noticed that, okay, this could be really something. This could be, I'm understanding why this is important now and why this will be very important in the future. And lucky for me, it has turned out to be that way.
Yeah, it's really, really important.
And also it's good that most people, most companies, for example, realize that it's something to be taken seriously by now.
Is there still some companies that don't believe you, or?
Well, it's basically whenever you have IT in a new environment, for example, it was back then when smartphones started to be the thing. So the first smartphones, it's like, okay, we believe in security. We secure the desktop. Now we have done something to secure the desktop. That's good. Now we make a phone, and we forget everything we just did. So we make a phone with no security. So, and then, there was this boring security thing, which doesn't really sell because it's not a new feature, it's not shiny, it's just making buildings that last, for example. That doesn't really, it's not any more shiny, it just doesn't rot.
Yeah.
And now you have all these funny appliances, Internet of Things they call it. For example, you have light bulbs that have computers, you have cat litter boxes with computers. And most of these guys are, again, new to the fact that they are computers and there is this thing called security, and the security matters. And soon we will have computers everywhere, and now is the time to secure them before deploying them everywhere.
So if I would have a cat litter box that is online, what is the worst that can happen? Can they get like my bank account and...
Well, basically, the basic thing they always do, is that they gain a foothold somewhere. Now they probably will hack all the devices in the same network. Now they will probably launch denial of service attacks. So, for example, I know of cases. Do you know denial of service attacks?
No, I'm not familiar.
Basically generating a lot of traffic to your internet site.
Yeah.
So basically you have a gambling site, say, you have the Assembly website, and somebody has a gripe with you guys. So they just they just send a huge amount of traffic to assembly.org so that normal users cannot get to it because there's so much traffic going on that's basically just like malware generated. So your cat litter box, if nothing else, will participate in a denial of service attack. Will attack others. If you have, for some reason, put in your credit card number, if you have put any personal information, any login information, that's gone also.
Okay. So is there a personal experience about cybersecurity failing for you?
Not personally that much, no. I don't think so. I've been spared of major catastrophes, but at work, mounds off.
And what is most often asked questions that you get?
Well, there's a lot of the common themes. Spam, what AV is the best, antivirus, all things about common scams on Facebook, everything related to Facebook, everything related to any social media services. If something happens and it happens on social media, it's a big thing. Everybody contacts us.
And is it easy to lose your cybersecurity? Like, how easy is it for a normal person to actually lose all?
Well, define all. Basically, if the software doesn't force you to do something, for example, if you are putting in a password and the system that the password is used for doesn't force you to make a strong, hard-to-guess password, it's easy because you will put in a lousy password, and whenever somebody really wants to, they just guess it, or whenever the site is hacked and the password hashes are stolen, they can brute force your password and get to know it. So I think much of it is that many of the systems currently are building things in. They are building patches in, so whenever there's a new version, it will, without asking you sometimes, will patch it or say that, okay, I will patch myself now. And when you try to put your password somewhere, it will say that, okay, this isn't good enough. You don't have uppercase letters, you don't have numbers, and it's under 8 characters or it's under X characters. Well, in those cases, I think I think those are good because it raises the bar on the most common attacks that are out there.
Is it are normal people often attacked, or are they companies mostly?
I think it's a tragedy of the commons kind of thing. Because, for example, sending spam is free. Basically, it's free. So if you send 1 billion spam, it costs you very little, if nothing. And then if a tiny amount of those billion people, say 4,000, believe your scam. Click on the attachment, have not patched their computers, get themselves infected, and then something. Well, but basically, you're on the plus side already.
Okay, yeah.
So it's collateral damage. Mostly, they are not after you. They're just after the guy that left his car unlocked on the street.
Ah, yeah. And if there has been something like I have got those messages from my friend that I see clearly that they are not sending me, and there's like link and click this and the prince of person and everything. So if there has been this kind of breakthrough to your security, is it all lost, or should you change your passwords immediately? Or
usually there's a lot of stuff to be done. So so in most cases, if it's only say your Twitter account, then it's the password of your Twitter account.
Okay.
You reset it. The key question is, how did they get onto my Twitter account? Did I have a bad password? Yeah, it was probably that. No, I didn't have a bad password. Did I input it somewhere? Did I open a web page that looked like a Twitter page and I asked me for the password and I put my password there, but I was left wondering if that was really the thing to do. Okay, then it's only your Twitter account. If something else, you might have something on your computer that you don't want to. It might be collecting stuff. It might be the time to start thinking about cleaning up your computer and start changing other passwords.
Yeah.
If it's your email account, well, there's the remember your password feature that's everywhere. So basically, if you get your email, they can just reset any of your other passwords.
Yeah, that's true.
That it gets hairy at that point.
Yeah.
Mostly if it's something that they need to gather separately, documents, something like that. They might be, but well, those are the most common things. If there is something that is passwords, anything directly monetizable, Bitcoin wallets, credit cards, anything related to that kind of thing. Well, that's the thing that they grab the first, and after that, well, you don't know.
Okay, yeah, that's really good information. And yeah, what about you're now doing the research? How long are you going to do, or what are you going to do next? When will you be finished?
As I said, it's mostly the group. Kasper, for example, who was speaking with me, has done a bulk of the research. I've been doing some part of it myself with Windows. I think about making some more with Linux, but I'm myself personally not have any long-term plans related to that. Kasper probably has them, but there's other stuff brewing, both in the university, and I have some papers to write about different security topics. Mostly it's just about to find the time.
Do you know what are you going to do with the information when you got your research done and found all the URL?
Well, it's if somebody software has faults, it's obvious that we should contact them, and well, that takes a lot of doing, but well, that's what we are partly there for at the NCSC.
Okay, and where can we follow your research?
Yeah, well, personally, I'm not at the social media. It's not my thing. On the OSPG behalf, you can just follow their web pages. They're really active on GitHub right now, publishing much of their research open source.
Oh. Okay, well, thank you a lot for being here. It has been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
And for all the viewers, remember to go watch the GitHub page. It's github.com/oospg. There you can find information about the research they have been doing. And thank you for watching Fireside Chat.